Hello, what's going on? Rich here. So today in this video, I'm going to take you through some of the next 4 to 6 weeks of training that I have coming up. I'm doing the DEKAfit event in West Palm Beach in May of 2021. So I'm just going to tell you exactly what I'm going to do and why I'm going to do it. So I'm going to give you a ton of detail about the progressions, the specific exercises, just so you get an idea of what a training plan would look like for this type of event so that you could put some of these principles and some of these exercises into your own practice. But first, if you want to grab a copy of my free Run Faster guide for endurance events, you can grab that right below. It details a lot of the principles that I do put in place for the athletes that I coach and for myself, so you can get that for free. All right, so let's do it. So recently I have had an injury in starting in about January. So I've had about 2 months where I really wasn't doing much at all in terms of running. I wasn't able to run. There was really a harsh pain through my glutes that would just completely shut me down. Didn't do any imaging. Don't know exactly what it was. I think it had something to do with either my sacrum or my SI joint, but there was no running. So a lot of the volume that I had been doing was replaced on the rower or on the bike, and was still able to do a lot of strength work. It was just running and just impact things that were really taking me down. So it's something to keep in mind here, because the running volume isn't where I would quite want it to be typically. And for that reason, I'm gonna kind of really shift the approach around what it's gonna look like. And if I was to be going into an event like this, like a DEKAfit, which is gonna be about a 30-minute high output event, I would really want to get my intensity, the volume of my intensity, to a point where it's going to be pretty race specific, but I don't feel comfortable and confident in doing that much intensity right now. So you can see the way I'm kind of breaking out the intensity and running is going to be a little bit different, and it's going to be focused very much on power output and kind of mechanics and really figuring out how to become the fastest runner I can. And since I have been feeling better, and there's been some races going on, I've been really wanting to do these DEKAfit and high rock style events, and I saw that there was one that popped up in Florida. We're one vaccination down, so feeling good that we'll be ready to go. So no better place to go than Florida. So when we're setting up these style of training plans, so this is going to be really a meso cycle, which was in between your micro and macro. So macro is going to be maybe the year long. A meso is going to be between like 3 to 6 weeks, and your micro cycle is going to be 1 week at a time. So I'm going to take you through the next 4 to 5 weeks and what it looks like in terms of my training with this mesocycle, what the goal is for that. So when you're planning for a race, you really want to look at the demands of the race. It's the first thing you want to do. So with DEKAfit, what it is a 10 different workout stations with a 500-meter run in between each workout station. So they've done the first event, and the winner was just under 30 minutes, I believe, or right around 30 minutes. So you figure that's where the demands are going to be. So when you look at it from an output standpoint, that's going to be somewhere in that like 10K range, 8 to 10K of running. So that's really the stimulus in which you're going to want to prepare for, is that type of feeling for a 10K, which can be really high output. That last 8 to 12 minutes of a 10K or 8K is going to be very much about shutting lactic acid out and getting that lactic buffering in place. And those are the kind of demands that we're looking at. And then with the workout stations themselves, they are going to be very much around skill and just figuring out what you want to do in terms of approach. So just learning all of the different things, making sure that you know how to do all the things. So we're going to focus a lot on the skill work of the workout zones. And then for me, I need to work on power. I know that I need to get a little bit stronger for these type of events, because there is going to be a really high level of output that you're going to need to produce to keep up. So power is going to be my main focus around this mesocycle. I'm going to approach it through a bunch of different angles, from a running standpoint and from a gym standpoint, from a skill acquisition standpoint. So that's really what we're looking at with these next 4 weeks, is going to be very much power development. So along with the power development, there is going to need to be some sort of preparation for the feeling, right? And we mentioned that it's going to be kind of a lactic takeover and wanting to make sure that I'm ready to take that on. And So there's going to be some ways that I'm going to be able to put that into place through some of the skill work and through the machine work of the workout zones. So that's where my primary focus is going to be, where normally I would put it into running and I would do fast intervals for 3 to 5 minutes at sub 5K pace to really get familiar with that feeling of what it's going to be at the end of a race. But for this one, we're going to take an approach where I'm still on the way back, and I still have some skill to develop on some of these machines. So we're going to kind of knock those out together. So the running workouts are not going to be what I would typically do, but it's going to be a cool experiment to see how that's all going to play out. So let's take a look at what this looks like. So here we are in Training Peaks, and Training Peaks is just where all my training lives, and I go back and forth between Training Peaks and Train Heroic for my strength work. So if we're looking over here at the summary, I wouldn't pay any attention to these metrics up here. They're all out of whack based off of the volume that I've done in the past, and that I haven't necessarily been updating things so much. So these are all out of whack, and these are proprietary metrics through Training Peaks, so there's not a ton of crossover if you're not familiar with what Training Peaks offers and what they're trying to tell you. But the main thing that we can look at here is the run distance and the total duration are the main things that I'm really going to take a look at, and the total duration more than anything. So it seems to be about 12 hours of work this week for this first week of training. And that's pretty sustainable for me when it comes to how much I can do per week. 12 is something I can fit into my schedule. It's something I can recover pretty well from. And on the high end, I'm going to be around like 15 or 16, but nothing that much in this cycle here as I start to build up. So anywhere from that 10 to 15 is where I typically live on a regular week. So this week's going to be about 12. Again, really safe, comfortable spot for me. The running distance is going to be pretty light. It's going to be in the 30s. Maybe. And that's with a couple of days of running, a couple of days of off running, but it's going to be supplemented a lot with some of the skill work. I'm going to focus on a lot of skill work in the gym setting, doing rowing, skier, and assault bike to supplement my aerobic work there. So you can see the volume on the running is still pretty low. I'm still bouncing back, so I don't want to go too crazy with that. So this is what a regular week would look like. So the two different progressions that I'm going to take on for the actual fitness, the aerobic development, and the lactic threshold tolerance are going to be on the assault bike. So the first one's going to be more of a threshold style of workout. So when we click into here, we'll see that what I'm looking at is going to be 1 minute and 30 of hard work, 30 seconds easy. So really short rest, and at a pace that's going to be something that's sustainable. So typically your threshold pace should be something that you can hold on for like an hour with running. With the bike, I'm not too comfortable. I don't really know where that is. I don't know how much I can handle. So this is going to be a lot about learning what the metrics look like in terms of RPMs and in terms of wattage, and just finding a spot where I can play around and maintain that. So you'll see this is going to be hard. It's not going to be into that lactic takeover zone, but I'm going to be working pretty hard for this on each of these workouts. I'm going to finish with some fast sprints at the end to just, again, get that power at its highest. The other workout is going to be more on that lactic tolerance. And like I had mentioned before, usually I would run at sub 5K pace for 3 to 5 minutes. These workout, but on a bike, I don't know where that is. I would probably blow myself up before I got into that zone. I don't have a great understanding or a great ability to tolerate that high level of output. So what I'm doing, I'm just making them shorter, and I'm going to reduce the rest each time. So it's going to be 30 seconds hard, something that is going to be a 90 to 95%, then 30 seconds rest, then 30 seconds again hard, then 20 seconds rest, 30 seconds hard, 10, 30 seconds hard, 10 again. So this is going to be a way that I can improve my ability to hold a high power output with reduced rest, and ideally that would expand as these workouts progress. So you'll see on this workout progression, it's not going to be too much of a volume increase. It's going to be an intensity increase. So I wanted this volume to stay right here, and then I'll rest several minutes and then get back to it again. So I'm going to do 3 of these once a week and finish with some high-end power output on the bike. So the bike is going to be the main driver in this DEKAfit event for me, and I think for a lot of people, I think that's where the race really is going to be made or broken for a lot of people. The bike is brutal. You can really kill yourself on it. So getting familiar with it and knowing where your zones are is the same as spending time running. So I know where my running is going to be. I kind of know what's going to be familiar at that point, even though I'm not going to be doing too much pace work. Just from years of doing it and based on the fitness that I was last season, like I'm going to have a decent idea of where that is. But so I need to get good at the bike. So that's what that's going to look like. Tuesdays are going to be just aerobic days where easy running and then finishing with some rowing and some skiing. Again, that's going to be very much just volume and skill work. So that's going to be my easy days and keeping the intensity very low. So that's what Tuesday looks like. That's what Thursday is going to look like. That's what Saturday is going to look like. And that's going to be kind of like my base mileage. It's going to be split between the two of the things. One, because I'm just bouncing back from an injury, and two, just so I can get really familiar with the rower and the ski erg and just to build that volume up. I will also supplement some volume on Sunday as well as like kind of like my long run where I'm going to be kind of 2 hours plus in here. The other days, so my really running workouts are going to be Wednesday and Sunday, and that's what this is going to be look like, some very overspeed is what we'll call it. So this is just sprinting. So just getting as fast as possible with the absolute best form that I can do. And it's going to be about 50 meters of a sprint. So just really working on that acceleration, keeping my form in place and resting a lot. So the intensity is really high, but the volume is really, really low. So just 6 of these at 650 meter sprints, right? So 300 meters total of work, which really is going to focus on that intensity piece, making sure that my form is right on point and really helping to develop that power. So when we're doing sprints, it's like practicing lifting heavy, right? But with perfect form so that you can really dial in that power output. We can get more powerful in the weight room, and that's what I'm planning on doing, and I'll show you some of those workouts as well. But to practice getting fast at running, like fast running is going to do it the most, just so those mechanics are dialed in. So this is something that is going to help improve my overall speed and just my efficiency. So without being able to do too much fast running into, again, that 90 seconds to 5-minute range, I'm going to do some really fast stuff. And you'll see on Sunday as well, I'm going to be doing more of power development work as well. So just an easy warm up and then just doing 6 bounds, 10 seconds of hill bounds, where single leg bounds, where just like plyometric jumps as fast, as hard, as far as possible, trying to produce as much force as I can with each step. So the running is going to be very much around mechanics and power output, where my endurance work is going to be done on the bike. I haven't really, I definitely haven't ever done a program around like this, where I'm leaving the aerobic conditioning and the anaerobic conditioning and really like the race feeling work on different machines that are not running. So I'm taking this as an opportunity to practice some of the skill and practice the power development and things that I believe will work and that I have evidence will work, but we're just going to put in place. So that's what the running part's going to look like, and you'll see things are going to progress. And the progression on the assault for the threshold, I'm going to move up from 90 seconds to 2 minutes. It's going to suck. And then, like I said, the MSP is going to be just keeping the volume about the same. We're going to add some 200s into this Wednesday work. Again, just still the sprints, and then finishing with some more paced work in the 200s, just to kind of, again, build up some speed tolerance here. And then on Sunday, going to do some more hill bounds, and then just add a little bit of tempo work. I don't have too much aerobic work in here. I don't have too much of a base in that, so I just want to see what that feels like working at a higher end aerobic piece. This is really more of a test for my physical ability, and then seeing what that's going to feel like. It's just going to be a 20-minute tempo, just nice and easy, 2-mile tempos, so not even. So just finding a sustainable kind of like marathon, half marathon pace. And then the following week, MSP stays the same. Threshold is going to go back to 90, and just going to add a little bit more volume there. Back to the overspeed, and then we're going to work on some more overspeed, and then those 200s are going to turn into 400s. And again, always volume is going to be with the row and the ski. My volume on the Saturday, Thursday, Tuesday is going to be based a lot around how I'm feeling. So if I want to run a little bit more, if I want to row a little bit more, but it's going to probably be in that 90 to 100 minutes of easy work on all of those days. So that's the next 3 weeks of this progression, and that's going to take me about 2 weeks out until the first event. So I will take a down week on this 4th week, probably add in some more 400, 200s, and maybe a race sim at the end here. The 8th, there is a DEKA Strong in the area, so I'll probably get back into some of these similar type workouts and hit the DEKA Strong to lead into the DEKAfit event with a mini taper here. So I like to build out about 3 weeks at a time just so I can adjust and move things around. So that's what that's kind of looking like. So let's get into the strength stuff. So the strength end of the workouts is really going to be the bread and butter. And you'll see I have the strength here on, it's going to be 70 to 80 minutes of work on Monday, on Wednesday, and on Friday. So let's move into Train Heroic so we can take a look at exactly what those workouts are going to look like. Great, so I hope that was helpful on the running end of things. It's going to be a little bit of a different approach. So you can check out part 2 where we're going to talk about exactly what we're going to do in the weight room for the DEKAfit event for these next 3 and how I'm planning on improving my power output. So of course, hit us with a subscribe, hit with a like, at the alert button to get all of the newest updates from Reinforced Running when we're talking about running, OCR, strength, nutrition, all of that stuff. We'll make sure you never miss a video. And make sure you pick up your free ebook about Run Faster for long distance events. A lot of the principles that I use for my training and for the training that I use for the athletes that I coach. All right, we'll talk to you soon.